Andre 3000 recently made news when he released an album with all instrumental tracks and him playing the flute at some point. He doesn't rap or rhyme at all on the album, I heard. Just strictly instrumentals and him playing the flute. Among other reasons, he pointed to his age as to why he didn't spit nothing on his new album, which got people talking. Is there such a thing as too old to rap? This is not a new discussion, but one that reoccurs from time to time in hip hop, and it seems like only in hip hop. And to make sure we're focusing on the right group here, let's just talk about established rappers that came in the game when they were younger but are older now. I ain't talking about people who never picked up a microphone before, all of a sudden wanting to call themselves an MC at the age of 45. I'm talking about MCs who were dope when they were younger, made dope music throughout their careers, and are older now. Some people think rappers like this should stop rapping or stop performing. I assume the same people don't think these rappers should create any new music. I totally disagree and think they should, as long as they are two things: dope and honest. Understand, when I was a young boy back in the day, MCs, they seemed older to me, like late teens or early 20s. Rappers were grown men who talked about bills and their wives and babies, inflation, divorce, etc. You know, grown man problems. Rapping became a young man's game as time went on, and I don't believe that was an accident or something that naturally happened either. I believe they've been trying to destroy hip-hop as soon as they realized how much of a threat this music could be to the mainstream power structure if used in a certain way. In addition to suppressing progressive and positive rappers, I believe they set an unofficial age limit and implied that it was uncool to listen to rappers over the age of 30. Why would they do that? Because they don't want the old heads lyrically and socially teaching and mentoring and talking to the young bulls, and that's exactly what would have happened. Older MCs would naturally pass down that lyrical tradition of dopeness with built-in standards that the young bulls would pick up just by being around it. That way you don't end up with drill rappers and trap rappers and mumble rappers. But see, they put that wall up to divide us, so each generation is left to themselves. Hip-hop is the only genre of music where you hear people say the artist should stop performing or creating at a certain age. I see old country and rock and gospel and classical, operatic, and R&B artists. They get to go on tour, they perform, they release new music, etc. with no criticism. I heard Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest. He said something along the lines of like, athletes retire, artists, they keep going until they physically can't. I agree. I take age out of the equation. If you dope, you dope. You probably can tell my opinion of most of the young rappers out here now, but it's not because they're young, it's because they're whack, respectfully. If I hear a dope MC and he's 16, I'm gonna give it up to him. In fact, I love to hear young bulls spit fire. I just don't get to experience it that often. Like the first time I heard Joey Badass, for example, he was like 16. I was like, yo, this young boy is spitting molten hot lava. I didn't care about his age, but I was actually glad to hear that he was young. See, but I was dumb enough to think that like it was the dawn of a new era of dope young boy MCs. But no, he was just unique. Going back to Andre 3000, he is nowhere near whack. In fact, I think he's one of the best MCs that came from the South, in my opinion. One thing I read that he said in the interview with regards to his new album and not being interested in rapping anymore was, what would I rhyme about? Getting a colonoscopy? My knees are getting bad? Which frustrated me to hear him say that. Like I mentioned earlier, we grew up listening to grown men on the mic, and sometimes they talk about grown man subjects, and it was cool. Why don't Andre 3000 feel like he can do that? He seems like a fairly intelligent dude. He should know there are a million subjects that he can touch on and write songs about that will be age appropriate and probably relevant. Look at Black Thought from The Roots. He's still making music, dropping jams, doing collabs with people. You know why? Because he's dope. That freestyle he did on Funkmaster Flex show a couple years ago had every age group stuck. I don't care how old you was. When you heard that 10-minute display of non-stop lyrical expertise, you had to give it up. That ish was monumental. Understand, Black Thought is almost 50 if he ain't already. Lyrical flamethrower. You hear me? He ain't out here talking about he too old to rap. In fact, I think he'll make 85 to 90% of these younger rappers out here not even want to pick up a mic around him. And he ain't the only one. Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, LL, Tretch, Royce the 5'9", even Eminem. All of them over 40, 50 years old and spit battery acid. The fact is, since they were born in the late 60s or early 70s and they grew up with hip hop and they started out as the young artists back in the day, it's in their DNA. What you think they supposed to do? Start singing doo-wop or Motown jams? Even though we grew up with that, that ain't our era. Rapping, MCing, hip-hop, that's our era. That's our Motown. Bottom line, I feel like it's not a matter of if you too old or too young to rap. It's a matter of if you too whack to rap. In other words, if you a dope MC, I don't care how old you are. And now that I think about it, you ain't even gotta be like an old famous artist for me to dig your skills. If you over 40 and dope and just write rhymes as a hobby or a pastime, more power to you. If you dope and over 50 and still like making basement tapes and you don't intend on it really going no further than that, more power to you. If you dope and you over 60 and still inspired to make demo tapes, trying to get a record deal or selling it yourself, more power to you. It's like a lot more worse things they could be out here doing. And if they still healthy enough to do it, more power to them.